Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you today. So my topic is the stuff you never hear about South Africa. Hashtag take the time, hashtag all the time. Yeah? So in summary today, I'll talk a little bit about the stuff that you know, right? And I'll talk a little bit about my culture, and I'll talk about the two controversial schools that we sort of still practice, and just life in the township post-apartheid, and then why does it matter to you? So if you think of South Africa, obviously everyone, Table Mountain. I mean, it's on the brochures, Cape Town, that's all you can think of. The second thing, some people think we still have wildlife running around. We don't. Only that one time one lion escaped from the game park. That's the only time that it happened. So South Africa also, everyone knows Nelson Mandela. Charlize Theron, yes, we're claiming her, even though she speaks, she's got an American accent, she is South African. And another thing that South Africa, when you think of South Africa, the Vuvuzela was Gustavo. So that's the stuff we read in the brochures and probably in the news and other stuff. So today I'll tell you a little bit of a different story, and I'll start by introducing myself again. So my name is Nomfundo Ndima. So the reason why I always almost scratch the Margaret out is, so my first name is Margaret, but I don't really relate to that name. I don't really like it because all the black people born in the 80s and 90s all had English names because they thought white people wanted their names. So all my cousins or my sisters have English names. So for me, it just comes from a bad place, unnecessary. Nomfundo is perfect, you know. So, and then the second thing, so in South Africa, we have 11 official languages. All the different cultures are classified according to the language, and English is one of them. So I come from a culture called AmaXhosa. It's the one with the clicks. According to Wikipedia, that's how you say it, but listen to me. Xhosa is how you say it. And then, so one thing, from a Xhosa culture perspective, your surname actually doesn't matter. So what we have is called your clan name. So that's your third level, clan name. So your clan name talks to which were your tribes that you come from, and you inherit that from your dad's side. So mine are Udlamini, Ujama, Ujad, Ufagad. Those are my clan or tribe names. And obviously that was used also, if you meet somebody else with the same clan names, you can't get married because then it's considered incest. Yeah. Then in terms of food, so we eat a lot of beans, different types of food. We eat every part of an animal. This here, that is a sheep's head, and that's chicken feet. So these are all my favorites. So I'll put all my favorites. So we eat normal parts of the chicken, every part of an animal we eat. Yeah. Then just in terms of famous people, this guy is called John Kani. He was that character on Lion King, and he was also in Black Panther. So the language that's spoken in Black Panther is Xhosa because of him. So that's interesting. And that beautiful lady's me, of course. Yeah. Then just in terms of women, the women, we still do a lot of face painting. So it used to be rocks, and then you grind it and you put water, and now we just use like calamine. So we considered that as how to make you look beautiful. That was before the Mac days, you know. So we still continue and do that for traditional ceremonies. Then I'll talk about two schools that are kind of traditional and kind of very controversial in South Africa. So the first one is around women getting married. So we still believe in the dowry system. The guy needs to pay the woman's family cows, which is cash now. So the controversial part of it is that a lot of women now have their independence and stuff like that. And your role as a wife in any household, you literally do everything. You wake up before everybody. Your head is always in a sort of a bowing down position. And a lot of women, since gaining a little bit of independence, struggle with being a wife because you have to be subservient, you know. The second school is called Ukweluka. Ukweluka is the journey from being a boy into manhood. Basically, when it happens is before you turn 18, round about there, you sort of have to go into the bush. That's what they call it. So you go into the bush and they do circumcision without any anesthetic. A little snip snip. Basically, that's what happens, but you're there for 3 weeks, and then they teach you what being a man is. None of the women know what they talk about there. It's supposed to be like a secret, so basically you go away for 3 weeks into the bush, no food with salt and stuff like that. So I think before it used to be like they'll teach you how to hunt, but now, I mean, it's modern world, so I don't know what they do for 3 weeks, right? There's no FIFA there. So basically, the controversial part of it is, recently a lot of people have died. So the way it works, every boy aspires to be a man. So what they'll do is they will illegally go to the bush, and then they circumcise them incorrectly. Things like HIV, infections, so people die so the government has really put some effort in terms of educating the people who are doing the circumcision in terms of safety, health, using the proper blades and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's why everyone's always, twice a year, December and June is where it happens. And once you come back, the picture, which is number 2, the men will bring you back into wherever you come from, and then they'll sit at number 3 and talk to you around, okay, welcome back. You get new clothes. You can't wear the clothes that you used to wear as a boy. So that's also a cost component to it. And then your position also as a new man, you have to be down, and you can't talk to people directly for like a week or something like that. Yeah. So life in the township, I live in the township. When I go home now, I go back to the township. So the townships were created back during apartheid where all the black people lived. So the situation is still there. It's very clustered. You know your neighbors very well. I've lived in the same house for 30 years. So you know your neighbors very well. Some of the challenges, obviously, I mean, it's socioeconomic issues around poverty, crime, HIV, AIDS is still there, very much so. And I think for me, the thing that I want to highlight is, even though HIV, AIDS is still there, I think the impact is felt by the people that are here based on looking after the people who've died. So always, for example, in my family, I've had people who've left children here without any resources, no money, no nothing. And then the rest of us are left to look after these children, right? So that brings me to a term called black tax. So black tax is something that we think as black people that have made it out sort of out of the hood and have careers and stuff like that. We call it black tax because a lot of us are responsible for your family members, for school stuff, because you are the only resource they have. So it's hard for you to sort of move and get stuff for yourself because you're always just like, this one is that, this one is that, and this one is that. So it's the additional tax that you have to pay. And then just in terms of opportunities, upskilling entrepreneurs, there's a lot of entrepreneurs. People sell stuff like, for example, you can buy people still buy 2 eggs, like at the shop. That's how the poverty level is. Some people, like, for example, also things like borrow a cup of sugar. Our neighbor still comes and borrows a cup of sugar from us. And that's because she can't afford, or like her grandchildren left all their children there. Like her children left the grandchildren there, and she doesn't have means and stuff like that. So people still buy stuff in smaller quantities than you just going to the Tesco, you buy a 6-pack of eggs or something like that. Then the cow thing, that is real, people. Cows still roam around. And it's such a problem because people bought like a few cows, but there's no grazing space. So the cows just roam around into people's yards, and then they eat the grass, and they have ticks and stuff. And I have dogs, okay? Ticks are bad for dogs. Then I'll talk about why am I telling you all of this. So if I think about South Africa's journey, right, the reason I'm telling you a lot of this is very few people know that information up until today about me. And South Africa went through a journey in terms of the corporate world of integrating everyone into the corporate. So I'll speak about some of the things that have happened in the news recently around diversity. H&M, do you guys remember what happened with H&M? Stuff like that. H&M has now hired a diversity manager, right? Not sure what that person's going to do. In South Africa, Imperial CEO, they quit their job after calling an Indian woman an employment equity candidate or something like that. That guy lost his job, and Imperial is a really big company in South Africa. So my thing is, and so our government said during apartheid, after apartheid, they said, okay, so all companies, you have to have a certain number of black people, certain number of females, certain number of Indians, and all of that stuff, right? So then afterwards, I found that it's not enough to just integrate people. you have to allow people to learn about each other, right? Diversity isn't just about putting different types of people together, because everyone has a story. Everyone, especially in South Africa, everyone experienced apartheid differently, right? And then when you put those people together, it's suddenly really difficult environment for people to understand each other. And then that's how people make mistakes like calling people monkeys. Yeah? So my thing is, diversity for me, it's about, as a leader, I think it's important that you put it as a priority. Let people to take the time to know each other, right? And then the second thing is creating the dialogue. And I think it's everyone's journey. It's not just one person. Everyone has to do it. And then lastly, take the time all the time to get to know somebody. That's it.